Hi everyone, so here we are, the full tutorial for Fuel by Tommy Emmanuel. Before I continue, I want to point out that all the tablature and notation files for this lesson are available on my Patreon page. Link is down below in the description, as well as all the others I did up until this point. Now, on to the tutorial. As soon as I started doing these Tommy Emmanuel tutorials, there was someone who suggested that, well, maybe you should do a tutorial on Fuel. We can't seem to find any of them online, and it might be a good way to build your channel. I agreed. Seemed like a good way to build my channel. Now I know why there weren't any field tutorials to be found. This one was extremely hard to make. As you will see in the video, I'm starting out rather well rested and fresh. By the end of the video, my energy is completely drained. I'm completely spent. You will see what I mean, no doubt. Talking about the end of the video, I split this one in two. I put up a little poll on YouTube. The splitting of the video was just slightly in favor, but I think it's actually going to make things a little bit easier if you want to rewind and watch a certain part again. It's easier to use the YouTube bar for half an hour of video instead of more than an hour of video, which is the total length of this tutorial video. If you think differently, just put it down in the comments and I'll take it into account the very next tutorial I'm making of this length. Make sure to watch the pointer section in the beginning. I will explain a few very important techniques in there that are necessary to play the song accurately. If you do not watch this section, then some explanations in the rest of the video will seem a bit strange. A lot of the explanation is concerning the backbeats, so you have to play a lot of accents on the second and the fourth beat, and these also turned out to be rather hard to notate in the tablature. What I did is I always wrote an X on one of the bass strings, but the way you have to play this accent is actually explained in the video, because it can be different each and every time you have to play one of those accents. So don't mind the X's in the tablature too much. They're just an indication to let you know that, well, you should play a percussive hit right here, but the way you have to do that is explained in the video every time. Then, one last thing. Do not base your expectations of what this song will sound like on live versions of Tommy Emmanuel. Tommy is an exceptional guitar player. Not a doubt about it, but the thing that I think that sets Tommy even more apart from other guitar players is his complete mastery of the pickup system manipulation he does when he's playing live. I've opened for Tommy. He plays loud, unbelievably loud on stage, but he's also adjusting the pickup system for each and every song. For this song, I can imagine that he's putting the mic in his guitar on full blast, and whenever he plays one of those backbeats, it sounds like a huge hit on the guitar, while in reality he's actually playing these rather softly. I would suggest using the official Tommy Emmanuel version on his YouTube channel as a guide. I will also put a link to a little Instagram video I found online where he's playing this song to somebody else. And that actually gives you a very good idea of what the song should sound like if you play it on an acoustic without a 5 or 10,000 watt PA powering the pickup system behind it. That being said, have fun with the tune. I wish you all the luck in the world, because this one is a really hard one. I hope to see you next time, and I'll probably be doing a Bob Dylan strumming tutorial that time, because I will need some time to recuperate from this one. Have fun. See you next time. Bye bye. So before we get to playing, there's a few things we need to address. There are three main difficulties in this song. The very first one, no surprise, is the tempo. 170 beats per minute is quite fast for everyone, although this tempo isn't carried through the bridge and the intro. Those are a bit slower altogether. The second one are the time signature changes. Tommy says in interviews that you can tap your foot all the way through this song, and that is true. Tommy keeps a quarter note pulse all the way through the song, except again for the intro and the bridge, which both are in a different tempo. But Tommy switches between several different time signatures. You will need to play in bars of 4, 3 and 2 throughout this song. Now whenever they pop up, I will take my time explaining them. A few of them are tricky and a few of them are very deceptive. So it's really important to know what you are playing and how it lines up against those beats. But I'll address everything as soon as we get there. The third one will be the hardest for most, and that is generating the sound of the backbeat. Throughout the song, Tommy accentuates the second and the fourth beat all the way through. Now you can do this in a few different ways, and Tommy uses 3 ways in total. The very first one is the easiest one, and a method you probably already used before, which is simply just clicking the thumb against one of the bass strings, generating a clicking sound. So going with a bass line. So just simply slapping down the thumb straight down, trying to get the bass note to make contact with the frets and thus producing a clicking sound. The second one is already a bit harder. Sometimes during this song and other songs, Tommy actually generates this clicking sound while playing a bass note. So if your thumb pick is busy playing a bass note, that means you can't use the thumb to slap down on the strings, but rather you have to find a way to produce the bass note and the clicking sound at the same time. And this is a tricky technique. Try this. You're just starting out first with an open A bass string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what you're going to do is on the second beat and the fourth beat, you're going to change the direction in which you move the thumb pick. Normally when you play with a thumb pick and you pick a bass note, the thumb pick sort of move upwards a little bit. Now when you want to generate that backbeat, you're going to try and angle the thumb pick the other way down and slap the thumb pick in between the strings. That way you should get a bass note and a clicking sound at the same time. This is rather tricky in the beginning, and to make sure you get it right, this is a very loose technique. So the wrist is completely relaxed. You can see that the thumb is lifted up a bit higher and the wrist sort of helps out the movement, smooths it out a little bit, but there is no tension in your right hand whatsoever. This is a very loose and relaxed movement. Let me try to add that in with that open A bass note. So this was what you had before. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to add in that click on the second beat and the fourth beat, and that's when you will see the thumb changing trajectory just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, one thing is really important in this. Tommy plays an acoustic guitar with a very, very low action. This means that if he angles the thumb pick down, he actually needs very, very little momentum to get the string touching the frets. If you play a guitar with a higher action, you will find this rather difficult. So that is a really important aspect of getting this down, is you might need to adjust the action on your guitar, maybe set the neck back a little bit or get someone to work on the bridge. If you're not familiar with these kind of setups, then don't do it yourself. Take the guitar to a repairman or someone who knows what he's doing. One more time, the backbeat with the thumb. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can hear, the click and the bass note are generated at the same time using only the thumb. There's nothing else happening. The third method is using the back of the nails. This is a bit simpler. This actually resembles a strum. So if you would strum down with the fingers, only you do it in very quickly and you most of the time mute right away in the left hand. that little turnaround is something you will have to play a lot during the song. And this is mostly done or completely done by using the back of the nails. Those are the 3 different methods you need to create the backbeat throughout this song. It's really important to get these down because Tommy won't give you any time building this up nice and slowly. You probably need all of these 3 techniques in the course of 1 or 2 bars. So you have to combine all of these very, very quickly with each other. So make sure you're comfortable with them before attempting the song. That's about all I had to say concerning the pointers, and especially the backbeat info is really important here. Let's get to playing. Let's start with the intro. That's one of the easiest parts of the song. I'm gonna play through it once and then I'm gonna come back and explain. That's the first chord of the next section already. Now, I'm going to go over the intro rather quick because most of these are rather easy chord shapes. You're starting out with an open A string, an open top E string, and a little F triad in between. So a very moody chord. The thing you have to grasp for the intro is the highest note of the melody or of the intro section is actually on the 2nd string on the B string. So that might mess with your head in the beginning. As guitar players, we are very wired to having the highest sounding note being played on the thinnest string, and that's not the case here. Playing the arpeggio, and the top note is actually on the B string. The arpeggio in itself isn't difficult at all. Then we move down the index finger and the ring finger 1 fret and we add in the pinky again at the 6th fret on the B string. Exactly the same arpeggio. Moving down to an F chord, but we're not playing a full bar, we're only playing 3rd fret on the D string, 2nd fret on the G string. We're leaving the other strings open, playing the 1st fret on the high E string and pulling off right away. Adding in the pinky, and then playing the 1st fret on the B string but with a little bar across 3 strings, across the D string, G string and B string, so we can add in the next chord without having to move anything, so this melody note can ring out, and we're adding in the pinky 4th fret on the low E string and the ring finger 3rd fret on the low A string. This chord might look a bit strange. Now maybe if you look at it like this, it's just a part of an A flat chord. If you look at it, this is a G chord, moving up 1 fret, a little bar behind it. We don't need the top string, so that's why we play the chord like this, but it's a very simple A flat voicing. Moving to an open E chord. I like to play these last 2 arpeggios with a combination of the thumb pick and the fingers. Tommy likes to pick all of the notes with the thumb pick, sort of using it like a flat pick, playing it like this, down, 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 switching to an upstroke on the top note, and then everything else up, 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 up are upstrokes. Same thing on the E chord. Down, 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 up, 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 up. But I like to play it plectrum, 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 and then index finger and middle finger, just to divide the workload a little bit. See what works for you. Let me play that back to back. finger and the ring finger, adding in the pinky to the F chord. Little bar on the first fret. And this part is repeated 2 times, exactly the same. Now, at this point, I'm still playing this rather strictly in eighth notes. Feel free to give this a little bit of a free time approach. That's what I'm going to do the second time around. See, you don't always have to keep this exactly in tempo, just speed up, slow down, whatever feels right for you. Then we're coming up on the very first time signature change. This is an easy one. Up until now you've played in a bar of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're moving into a bar of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In the last bar, 1, 2, 3. You could count this out in complete 3 to the bar, but I feel like it's just an open ending. I actually don't keep counting that very last bar. You end up on an E chord, open E string, pinky on the 3rd fret, index finger, 1st fret, B string, open, and then straight into the verse. Again, these little arpeggio parts, I play them again with a combination of the thumb pick and fingers. Tommy picks them all. And this picking pattern is a bit harder. So the A flat chord is the same thing, down, down, going to the thinner strings and up strokes when you come back. Down, 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 up, up, up. But then the next one is a bit more difficult. Down, down, up, down, up, up. Down, down, up, down, up, up. With a pick. Again, see what works for you. I just instinctively play it with the thumb pick and the fingers. If you want to pick it all like Tommy does, then go ahead. One more time the intro, really slowly, and then we're off to the real fun, the verse. Here we go. Pause, and then keeping the rhythm straight now. You don't have to do that. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then into the real fun, the verse. I'm gonna play through the verse one time. I will divide, for the purpose of the intro, divide the verse up into 3 different sections, verse A, B, and C. As you will see, each of these sections is basically 2 bars, those are repeated a few times, and most of the verse sections, as well as the chorus, are actually concluded with the very same chord turned around every single time. So let's have a look at section A. Here we go. I'm going to play through each section well below that 170 beats per minute that Tommy plays, so you can get a first good look. Then I'm going to come back and slow it down even more. Here we go. Okay, that didn't seem too hard. Now, I told you, Tommy doesn't allow for a lot of time to get that backbeat technique into your fingers, and straight up in the very first 2 bars, he uses all 3 different techniques. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please jump back to the beginning of the video and look at the pointer section about the backbeat generation, at which technique to use. I'm gonna go over the bar beat by beat. Here we go. So the first beat, 3, 4, 1, easy enough, lucky for us. Then on the second beat, you will have to play a backbeat with the back of the nails while fingering an A power chord. Open A string, 2nd fret index finger on the D string, 2nd fret middle finger on the G string. I'm using my thumb over the side of the neck to mute the low E string. Here we go, 3, 4. See, so that was one of those first backbeats, a bit slower. So 2 bass notes, backbeat with back of the nails and straight back to a bass note with a thumb pick. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. First 2 beats, let's add in the third beat. 3, 4. That's not too hard. So you're basically playing another A bass note, plucking those 2 times the 2nd fret, just with the index finger and the middle finger. Really slowly. 3, 4. And I've accidentally already included the backbeat of the 4th beat, which is just a click with the side of the thumb against the bass note. After that backbeat, you still have to play 1 extra open A bass string and you have the complete first bar under your fingers. 3, 4. That's the first bar. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Let's add in the second bar as well. So the second bar starts with all 3 fingers here, thumb pick, middle finger, index finger, plucking the chord and adding another open A bass note. And that's actually the only chord you have to play the bass note and the chord section at the same time. 3, 4. Again, backbeat with the side of the thumb and another chord played with the fingers. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's it. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. The third beat of the second bar. So open A string, open E string. This sounds a bit weird without including the 4th beat, so that's what I'm gonna do right away. And the 4th beat is the 3rd fret played with the middle finger on the low E string. And now you're going to have to generate one of those backbeat bass notes while playing the bass note. So striking down the bass note in a diagonal way, producing that clicking sound while playing the bass note. Let's add that in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the complete set. One more time, slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're bending that bass string a little bit. And that's the complete first 2 bars, and those are repeated 4 times in total. And that's first section A. Let me play it through one time slowly, but this is basically the same pattern I just played 4 times in a row. that's it. Let me play that a bit more up to speed so you get a sense of what it sounds like if you speed it up. See, so that's, to my ears, exactly what the original sounds like. So I told you, there's no easy getting into this song. Right away, straight off the bat, very first 2 bars, you need all 3 different backbeat techniques. Nails, click with the side, click, and producing the bass note at the same time. All 3 at the same time. So really take your time to get into this. If this clicks, then the rest of the song, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy, but it's gonna be a lot easier to grasp what you have to do once you get through these first few bars. That being said, let's head over to the next section, verse B. Gonna play it one time for you, I'm gonna come back and explain. That's section B. Let's have a look. Techniques are mostly the same, but there is a bit more movement in the left hand now. What's happening? You're starting out on the same A power chord, and straight away again with the back of the nails. Moving to the 5th fret. Tommy does this with a bar with the pinky. No matter how hard I try, this feels really unnatural to me. If this works for you, it's actually the best option. In that way you can really easily change to the next chords. My method is a little bit harder, but I can't get this down. I'm guessing this also has to do with Tommy's guitar having an even lower action than mine. That makes this rather easy to play, or more playable than on my guitar. I just move up the entire chord section to the 5th fret. And again, 2 times, in this case, 2 times back of the nails. And what happens is you're playing 2 open A bass notes, back of the nails, bass note separately, chord separately, bass note separately, and back, again the back of the nails. To the next chord. This is really important, trying to separate those chords and bass notes so you don't actually have to pump that A bass string all the way through. I tried this in the beginning and I found it nearly impossible to get the song up to speed. So I went back and checked what Tommy did, and he splits up those bass line and chords as well. So only in the next part, in verse B, verse C, he's actually pumping through the A bass note all the way through, but for the rest of the song he actually divides it. So you get 2 open bass strings, back of the nails, separate chord, back to the thumb, and then to an D chord shape. So you probably, or most of you might have played this already, it's like a C chord shape moved up 2 frets. People who have played songs by the Rolling Stones know this chord shape very well, or All Right Now by Free uses sort of the same chord shape. So a D chord, but you play the chord separately and then the bass note. So and then the next click is produced by, again, playing the bass note at the same time as producing the click. So again, angling the pick a little bit so you get that bass note and the click at the same time. And then a really strange chord. Dissonant chord, sounds strange, but it blows by so quickly during the song. Pinky on the 4th fret of the D string, open G string, index finger 1st fret on the B string. Could be viewed as an A minor 13 chord, for example. And then that last one is something rather special. I'm producing the backbeat by strumming with the back of the nails, but I'm strumming right back up as well. So I'm using the index finger mostly to strum down, and I strum upwards right away. That's what happens. Again, have a good look at this. So you get the two first backbeats with the back of the nail, then one backbeat clicking while playing the bass note, and then the last backbeat is again the back of the nails, but followed by an up strum. Let me play that sequence back to back. That's that little chord turnaround. Get that down really well, because you have to play that a ton of times during this song. You're starting out with an open E string, pinky on the 3rd fret B string, and then an F chord. If you look down in the tablature, you won't actually see a full F chord rhythm, but play it like this, play the full chord, and the thumb over the side of the neck in this case is rather necessary, I'm afraid. You can move up the thumb to the 2nd fret to get an D dominant 9th with an F sharp in the bass, or you could play this with the middle finger as well. If the thumb over the side of the neck feels awkward, feels difficult, then just use it for the 1st chord and swap around for the 2nd chord. To a G sus4 chord. So, and you're basically strumming out that G sus chord to an E dominant chord with G sharp in the bass. Now, for me it feels natural strumming this up and down. Ending up on that last chord, a little bar on the 5th fret on an upstroke. If you watch Tommy play it live, he plays this all downstrokes. Probably just to keep the rhythm really pumping, so he plays the same thing. And that last chord, that bar across the 5th fret as well, with a downstroke. And then into the next section. To me, I sort of take this moment to give my right hand a little bit of a rest, and strumming this up and down actually makes me release some of the tension I might have built up. So that's why I keep doing this. This is really a moment where I can relax my right hand before jumping into the next section. Again, see what works for you. So either you play it with up and down strokes in the strumming, or you play it all with downstrokes. And that's what Tommy actually does. That was the whole of section B. Let me play it one time for you, a bit slower so you can follow along, and then it's into section C. And that last chord is, in terms of timing, really important. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that last chord is on the 2nd 8th note of the 4th beat, right before we launch into section C. So in section C, the pumping A bass note actually runs all the way through. That makes it a bit harder to play it up to tempo, but it's actually easier because there's only 2 different options you can now have to play the backbeat, which is the back of the nails or clicking while playing the bass note. Here we go. Let me play it one time for you, really slowly. And that little gap is really important, and especially the timing when you continue right into the exact same tempo again. So here we go. First 2 bars is just, or the first 2 beats, is just playing that open A bass string with a click in between. 1, 2, whole thumb. 1, 2, then adding in, again, that chord on the 5th fret. bass note click with the back of the nails, to a G triad over the same A chord, and that's a really important one. No click on the second fret. It's one of the very few times that this will happen. No percussive click on the second fret, and Tommy plays this downstroke, upstroke. So the bass note is a downstroke and the chord is an upstroke. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that part at the end will cause some trouble. You have a long chord and you have to jump in exactly at the 4th beat again with a click while generating a bass note and starting that A bass line all again. That's a lot to really pick up in one beat and make sure this stays in the exact same pace. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you link that together again, 3 times exactly the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, the same chord turnaround with a little bit of different ending. I just messed up here. So one more time, that section slower. I try to keep counting along, but sometimes I get out of breath. There's a lot to take in at the moment, a lot to pay attention to. So one more time, section C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And that's where you stop it. You actually play just that E dominant chord one more time, and then we're off into the melody of the chorus section. Whew. Okay, so rest assured, you basically have most of the difficult stuff down. The chorus is again a lot of repetition. I'm just gonna play through those 3 verse sections back to back now one time at a slower pace. Then we're going to take a look at the chorus. Here we go. Section A. Section B. Section C. Hi guys, so that was part 1 of the Fuel tutorial video. I will cover the rest in part 2, which is available on YouTube just as part 1. Have fun with it. Bye bye.